Okay, so custom mechanical keyboards, they can get pretty complicated just because they have so many different options, such as backplate, keyboard layout, switches, lube or no lube, stabs, stabilizers. What are those even? And worst of all, the different types of keycaps you can put on top of it. But what if there's a website and brand that I could recommend and I found useful in simplifying this process? Now, I'm just a noob when it comes to all this stuff, but thankfully, Glorious does have the GMMK Pro, so let's go check out their website right now. The site is pcgamingrace.com. Links down below in the description. If you select the GMMK Pro, the site takes you to a keyboard builder and it has explanations of each piece you're selecting. Along with that, they have a render of your current build that keeps track of all your selections along the way in the process. However, if all of that is too complicated for you, they do have pre-builds in the end. For this build, let's go over some of my choices. I stuck with the aluminum because it was already included and I didn't want to mess with swapping out the backplate. The switches I chose are linear Gateron blacks, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I type a lot and I wanted quiet sounding switches. Keycaps are the Aura whites because why get a RGB keyboard without letting the light shine through a little bit? As for building the keyboard, it wasn't too complicated, I'd say. I just followed their online guide and I did run into some hiccups. This might sound pretty stupid though. There were a couple of keycaps that I thought were fairly similar in size, and I was a little bit confused on like which one to plug in, I guess I would say. Secondly, I did run into some issues where some keys were not registering. If you looked at the switches, the metal contact beneath them were either crushed or broken, and that affected how the keys would not get registered on the keyboard. Now, as for my review of the keyboard itself, again, I reiterate, I'm not a keyboard extraordinaire like some of the other folks out there already, but I'm going to be reviewing this from a point of a filthy casual, I'd say. I have been using this keyboard for about the past 6 months now, I think. I went with the Pro variant over their GMMK1 or now GMMK2 because I liked the compact size, as well as I didn't want to lose the functionality of the function keys. And then on top of that, I liked something as stupid as the rotary knob. I know there's other keyboards that do have that, but GMMK Pro made it pretty easy to go with here in this case. Now for the build quality of the actual keyboard. This thing is pretty effing hefty, I'd say. The CNC aluminum case makes it feel like basically a weapon. I feel like if someone were to attack me, I could use this as a shield or to fend them off.
A few moments later.
I do love this illuminated side panel. It gives it a nice touch along with the Aura keycaps for that nice round soft glow when the RGB is on. Now for the very subjective part of the keyboard, both sound and feeling of the typing, because what I might like might not be the same as what you enjoy as well. I thoroughly enjoy typing on this thing every single day. Here's a quick sound test of what it sounds like now. And then let's compare this to my Drevo. The keycaps do feel very nice to the finger. I hope that they don't gloss over time, and that's gonna be not noticeable until like a couple years down the line. But for now, I love how they feel, and when I type on them every day for work, it's pretty amazing, I'd say. And honestly, I do love messing with the RGB whenever I type during the daytime. I love this Skittle candy colors that's going on, and it's nice and customizable through their software too. So now for the pricing on this keyboard. This one spec'd out is at $240, but you can save yourselves, a couple bucks here and there by opting to stick with just the aluminum switch plate, as well as not upgrading your rotary knob. But I did like the gold with this black and white theme that I had going on. However, there is a similar keyboard layout with the F1 keys that I was looking at the same time too. It's the Keychron Q1. I might pick that up just to see how this feels compares. They're both very similar from my understanding. I talked with one of my friends who is pretty big into keyboards, and he either recommended this, the GMMK Pro, or the Keychron Q1. So Hopefully I could pick that up in the future and compare that back to this one later on. So far, if you found my review very useful, I definitely would love if you could give me a thumbs up, as that'd be pretty helpful to the channel. As well as subscribe if you're into keyboards, and let me know kind of down below in the comments what kind of keyboard you're using. I'm just curious because there's so many different options and I always want to know what other people are typing on. But overall, this has felt wonderful to type on, honestly. Like I have it here down here right now, and I think it just feels good, for lack of better words. What's amazing to me is I was away from this keyboard for about a week, and when I came back to it and I started typing on it again, and I was like, damn, this feels amazing to type on, honestly. Like, this is good to me, I'd say. Figuring out what kind of keyboard layout as well as switches that you enjoy the most are probably your biggest hurdles into deciding what kind of custom board you're gonna get. But in the meantime, you could check out my other keyboard. I had the Dremel Excalibur and I've swapped over to this since then. And I don't know if I could go back. I might just try it again for a week and see how it fares. All right, so after going back to this, was not happening. Sticking with the GMMK Pro on this one. But I also might have some upgrades planned for this one in the future. We'll see. Peace.